Wonderful classic, the Heritage classic, Eddie George, unbelievable. What he's doing with that program is phenomenal. You know he's a dear friend. You know I love him to life. His kids fought their butts off. That's a whole different team than which we played a year ago. Um, Defensively, we're stout. We went out there and did what we needed to do offensively. We moved the ball up and down the field, but we couldn't get it in the end zone. And that is a tribute to Coach George and some of the mistakes we made as well. The kicking game was phenomenal, superb. Uh, Shoot, we won, but we're dissatisfied because there's a certain standard, there's a certain level. So we're going to take it. We got it on the practice field Sunday, corrected some of the mistakes, allowed some of the young men that didn't play 60% of the snaps to get a lot of reps on the Sunday. And we gave them yesterday off. Now we're back in the today off. I'm sorry. Now we're back in the lab getting the game plan together.
Appreciate those comments.
Excuse me.
Those comments, Coach. We'll now open it up for questions for Coach Sanders. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
I wanted to ask about a newcomer to the roster, Sivion Wilkinson. He had a big game in terms of he rushed for 81 yards, but he brought a different dynamic in terms of running in between the tackles in this game.
He's a banger. I didn't even know the kid was until a couple of weeks later in camp. And I'm like, who is this dude? You know, and banging, hitting it, not blowing any plays. Just he takes what you give him, but he has a physicalness and a mental toughness to him, and I love it. It's a different dynamic. As you know, 38 special. I love him what he brings, but we had a couple fumbles back to back, and we had two fumbles by the same back in 2 consecutive games. So when you have a couple fumbles back to back, any coach in their right mind is gonna get them out of there. So you sit over, watch for the rest of this game, and you get to see what this thing is like. He had a phenomenal game. He got a little winded, but he's going to be ready to go.
Quick follow-up, Coach. Thus far, this defense is already leading the nation in sacks, small sample size. But have they met your expectations coming in, or have they exceeded it thus far?
I'm not going to say exceeded. I have tremendous expectations. You got to understand we're playing with our 3 starters on the defensive side of the ball right now. So these guys are really taking it upon themselves to play at a certain level so that they could stay in when these starters back to being healthy. Coach Thurman, I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Coach Thurman is one of the best in the business, and you guys don't give him enough credit for his accolades, what he's accomplished, and who he is in the football world. And what he's doing, he's exuding what all he has inside of him, and that was one of our initial conversations. You sitting at home or you chilling out there in California, what you gonna do with all that knowledge in you, man? Why don't you bring it on down here and let's get some good usage out of that thing? So that was pretty much the conversation. And he's a dear friend. I played up under him in Baltimore, but his knowledge and expertise and what he's doing and teaching our other coaches and bringing them along with him is phenomenal. I love what the defense is doing. I'm hearing we're lead in scoring defense, rushing defense, total defense. I like the word lead. I've been there all. I love that word. Second fewest first downs allowed, and a couple get big plays, explosions that we surrendered. That's because we've blown coverages. We've blown that allowed them to do such a thing.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, my man.
Next question goes to Zach McKinnell.
How are you doing, Coach?
How you doing, sir?
Your offensive line was a point of emphasis this offseason. Can you kind of speak to their performance over these first 2 weeks and what you and the coaching staff have seen from them?
Well, the offensive line, I can see all y'all when I talk. I'm hitting buttons and I got to get back to where I need to get there. Okay, offensive line, I think we only have one guy in there starting that was with the offensive line from a year ago. So this is a whole new thing. We feel like our second group, our twos are better than our ones were a year ago. And we got a new coordinator, of course, new thought process, new system, new scheme. And these guys are taking it upon themselves to not only secure our quarterback with the passing game, but the running game. It seems like we didn't move the ball up and down the field, but I think we had over 400 yards offensively. We had over 400 yards again offensively, which is phenomenal. Our quarterback completed 30 passes, which is a lot of darn completions, and we just didn't get the ball in the end zone.
And a quick follow-up about this week, you have a big game with Grambling State. They had a big offensive week under head coach Hugh Jackson. Can you speak to what you and your staff have seen on film as the biggest challenges playing Grambling State this weekend?
First of all, I'm so pleased and excited that Coach Jackson is in the SWAC, is in HBCUs. He's a phenomenal talent. He's a phenomenal mind. This man made it to the highest darn level of football coaching in the NFL. So that's a blessing just to be on the same field. He's a dear friend. I feel as though he's a dear friend that I call and lean on at times, and he's always there for me. I'm going to always be there for him. And what he's doing with that program is going to be phenomenal. You just got to give him time to make it happen. They're going to run the football. They run the football well. They can throw the football well. I think they almost had 300 yards in passing this past week, but they ran the football really well. Defensively, they were stout this week, and they needed that victory to just get that team morale back, and that's something that he's doing. I love everything about Coach. I do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. Travis didn't play Saturday night. You mentioned that he was nursing an injury. What's his availability for this week against Grambling?
Not going to play against Grambling as well. We're going to play Travis when he's healthy and he's ready. We want you to see all of Travis, the offensive guy, the defensive guy, the special teams guy. We want you to see all of him. And I don't want to just ease him in game by game and you're just getting bits and pieces. That's not fair to Travis and his health and his future whatsoever.
All right, quick follow-up. This will be your first home game in Jackson since the situation with the water. Is it still affecting your team? And what does it mean to you to actually play a home game now after what's been going on with the city?
First and foremost, the home game is phenomenal. At the right time, the right place, the right team, the right city. These people are resilient. I love the city of Jackson and the resilience of our people. A home game is like an escape. It's like a vacation from the necessities and the tribulations of life. So we cannot wait. We're expecting, we're praying for a packed house. We're praying that we got the parking situation handled. We're praying that we got the entrance and the situation handled and the traffic and all the foolishness that happens outside the stadium. But we're praying that we got all that together so everybody could mosey on in and have a good time. We got a formidable opponent. They were coached well by Coach Jackson, but Coach Hugh. I'm excited. We're trying to put yesterday behind us with the water situation. There have been tremendous acts of charity and kindness with people sending pallets and shipments of water from all over the country. I think we have a gymnasium with 1 quart full of water all the way down there up to the top of the building. So we have enough water for days, trust me. We have enough water. I'm just hoping that everything is in order and structure so that we can have a wonderful game against Grambling State.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Stephen Gates.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Obviously there's a lot to talk about this game, Grambling and Jackson State and you and Coach Jackson, but just talk about recruiting. I know there have been a lot of recruits that have mentioned this game as something that they wanted to come and see and be a part of. Obviously it's a home game. Just talk about, what a game like this means for recruiting, when you're, likely to have a packed house and everybody's really excited about the brand of football you guys are playing.
But we don't wait for the games to recruit. Shoot, we on social, we on everything, recruit every minute, every day, every hour. We constantly post it. We're constantly trying to stay in the faces of these young men. Our coaches attribute a couple hours a day to make sure they get on the recruiting trail and just contact the kids and make sure they understand that we have a desire for them here at Jackson State and also just in the HBCU period. This is a huge game for recruiting. Every game's a huge game for recruiting. You got to win. Nobody want to go nowhere and you're losing. You can recruit all you want. If you're not winning, no one wants to come and play for you unless they feel like I can go play there because everybody's sorry. You don't want that kid, okay? We don't want that kid. We want that kid that understands that we're trying to build a dynasty, man. We're trying to build something that everybody want a part of. So you got to bring your A game to even be a part of this, to even be adorned in a Jackson State University uniform. But this is a huge understanding for recruiting for both teams this weekend.
And then lastly, just talk about Niles Gaddy, the performance he's had. I mean, throughout the season, through early in the season, but back in Tennessee, just talk about the things that he was, seeing him excel on that stage the way that he has.
He's upset right now. He underachieved last year, and he knows it. You talk about James Houston. There's another guy on the other side of the field. His name was Niles Gaddy. He didn't get any accolades, any love, any of that. He missed several sacks. He just wasn't ready for the moment last year. But guess what? Instead of pouting and having a pity party, he got in the lab, worked his butt off, studied, prepared, got his body together. He shaped, getting more snaps. He's understanding and thinking that the darn game of football. He gave me an illustration in the post game, about what he saw in both tackles, what he seen from film study. I'm happy and excited about this young man because he has all to be a pro. And I feel like he is an NFL player. I'm proud of it. How many sacks does he have this year?
5.5.
5.5 on the season. And we just getting started.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Jean-Jacques Taylor.
You gonna turn your thing on? Yeah, come on, you're supposed to be a professional.
I'm sorry. I was, you know,
How you just walk in with that question? You want to do it? Go ahead.
because I'll be in Jackson tomorrow. Question. Why did you make kicking such a priority in the offseason, not just with Mata, but adding Beza as well?
That's a weakness. That was a tremendous weakness. And as I look and gather around the SWAC, that's a darn weakness all over, not just us. And I needed to address it. One thing that made me special was special teams. Okay, so how can I know what that meant to me in my livelihood and not that means something to this whole entire team and this university and all over the SWAC? So I addressed it 100%. We went out, the whole transition, snapper, holder, kicker, I mean, all that needed to be upgraded. Punter, every darn thing needed to be upgraded, and we did that. And my man Mata, we tell him he matters to us. He truly matters.
And then
Life matters. Okay.
and then secondly, with your running game, how do you feel like it's improved in terms of you're just able to run the ball when you want to this year?
We could do a little better. We're playing with our pads a little high. Getting to the second level, we got to drop our hips and finish that block and stay with our blocks on the second level. But the guys understand we got to have this in order to have that. We don't just want to sit back there and let Shador throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. That we don't want to do that. We can do that. We can do it very well, but we don't want to do that. To have balance on your offense is phenomenal because some people are going to come in here and say, you know what? We're not going to let him throw for 300. We're going to make them run. Cool. We'll do that. We'll do that. If you blitz, we're going to tax you. So just having that balance and the understanding and the thought process of new talent and new linemen that says we can run the ball, we're gonna practice this, we're gonna perfect this, and you hear it. You see the way they take the field in practice. You see the way they take the field in the game. These guys want this thing, man. The difference is we're coaching pros now, not SWAC players. These are pros. These guys is gonna go deep. They're just not passing through the SWAC. They're, swiping a darn card, like it's a library card. These guys are trying to make it to the next level, and they're gonna go.
Then I'm greedy. One last one quickly. When you looked at the film, what did you see as the issue in the red zone?
Execution. Plays were there. Well, we dropped the pass. We fumbled again. I think offsides or holding. Just that kind of adolescence. We better than that. You hear every day. You see what we preach. We preach not holding the gun to our own darn head, and that's what we're doing with a full banana clip right now. We're better than that. But I'm happy that our kids are upset and they're able to come to me after the game and come to me in the conclusion of the game and say, Coach, that's on us. But we won by 2 touchdowns. And we're still not satisfied. I like that. I love it.
I appreciate it. I see you.
I'm pretty sure you will.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill's inside the HBC Sports Lab. Coach Prime, good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I wanted to ask you somewhat about recruiting, but in terms of pass. the quality of depth that you have on your team overall, specifically, on your defensive side of the ball and being able to rotate your defensive front. How important is that?
It's important, very important. I found that out when I did a little appearance at Walmart, and I went to the back and I seen how deep they were. I said, we got to be deep as a Walmart. We got to be deep as a Walmart, because what happens is you get those big guys up front and then you rotate. Anybody that's the offense coordinator, defensive coordinator, they see that stuff from up top, they're going to just hit them on the rotation. They're not deep. So it's good to have a stout four up front or whatever you call it, how many of you call it. But then they're going to tire sooner or later, especially we go tempo. So just having the depth to understand. Right now we're playing defense and we're playing at the level that we're playing without three of the starters on defense. We left 14 touchdowns in Malachi Wideman at home when we played against FAM. So just bringing this stuff in and knowing the depth. That's why practice is so darn competitive, because these, they get an injury. We got a left tackle that got hurt a week and a half before the first game. Hadn't won his job back because he's in there now, he's working his butt off. So he has to go out there and practice. That's the way you earn it. When we see it in practice, we see it in the game. What we see in practice, we normally see it in the game. It ain't no button, ain't no abracadabra that you can switch it, it turns into something else. Just being able to have the depth that we have is phenomenal. And I attribute that to the coaching staff, because they went out and got it. I put the onus on them. Don't sit up here during the game and tell me we don't have this and we don't have that, when you had the luxury to go out there and get what you want. We don't, this guy recruits Florida, this guy recruits Georgia, this guy recruits Louisiana. We don't have a staff like that. We don't have those type of resources. Go get what you want. That's how we recruit. Go get what you want. And I close it.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the weekend.
Thank you, my man.
Coach Sanders, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you next week.
Thank you. You know what? I'm sorry. It was one last thing I needed to say, and I need all y'all to understand this. You have a home. This is something that I need to address, and I'm glad you give me the opportunity to. We have an opportunity, the iPhone, we have an opportunity to play against these Power 5, and it's cool. I know some things you do and some things you do for money. I don't agree with that, because I think that's the ultimate sign, the other phone, iPhone, the ultimate sign of selling out. I was talking about sellout in our vernacular. And I don't like that terminology. But when we do something just for money, what is that called? What is that called? If I'm sitting up here, I wanted some numbers. Okay. And I'm looking at numbers that they gave me. Marshall got $1.25 million to play against Notre Dame. Appalachian State got $1.5 million to play against Texas A&M. Georgia Southern got $1.4 million to play against Nebraska. Okay, and so forth. Now let's get to us. FAMU got $450 to play against North Carolina. Southern, thank God, you got $760. I like that. Alabama State, $590 for UCLA. You probably exhausted that in the flight going all the way across the country. Bethune-Cookman, I don't even know what their payout is. We still trying to find out that. Alabama A&M, $300,000 as well to play against UAB. If we're gonna get our butt kicked, shouldn't it be worth it? How in the world are we selling for the peanuts and the little minute droppings that they're giving us, when everybody's darn near $500,000-$600,000? Should we get together and huddle up as a HBCU and say, we're not playing these beat down games unless we get this? Now, don't go up under it. You can negotiate above, but have the level be $750 or $1 million. Have something. Make it worth your team's while, because you're going to lose players. You're going to lose pride and dignity when we sit up here and telling you we're just as good, but you go out there and show that we're not as good. We're not nearly as good. And then you're losing 3 to 4 players because of the type of beating that you've got. Now you got to lift them and build them back up the next week to go back there and say, you could do it this week. Forget about last week, but you could do it this week. I don't understand that. I don't understand how we allow these other schools to get these type of purses to play against the same team that we're playing against. So who's negotiating this? Can we get together and form a committee or something and say, we're not doing it unless we get $1 million. Negotiate up, but don't negotiate down. And that $1 million should go directly to your football department. They out there getting their butts kicked. Not the rest of the school. They out there getting their butts kicked. They out there getting abused. They out there getting hurt. They out there getting injured. And now you want to spread it out amongst the school. I don't agree with that. If they out there playing, they should reap the benefits of the sacrifices that they're making. I just don't like when I'm seeing guys get 1.4, 1.2, 1.7, or whatever, and we getting peanuts. I don't like that. So that means we're not doing well business-wise. I just want to alarm you on that kind of stuff because that's the kind of stuff I think about. And that matters to me. That's the ultimate sellout to me. So I'd rather us get together, somebody take the lead. I'd be glad to. I'm used to being in that position and say, you know what? We're not doing it. Well, Coach Brown, it's easy for y'all to say, no, we're in the same financial situation. We're not in a better financial situation than any of the rest of everybody. We may do more. We're able to work more, and we're able to go out there and get more because we got to go get them. But when it comes to selling our kids out, I can't take it, man. It frustrates me. It angers me. It upsets me wholeheartedly. And I'm sorry for venting, but when I see that kind of stuff and I look at those stats, and it makes me mad. It really does. Because we're trying to preach that we're just as good. Then we go out there and get beat down for peanuts. Don't like it. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful day, because I am.